And welcome to the BCM Podcast. I am your host this week, Brad Swail. To my top left, Charles doing his profile. I don't know. He's waving at nobody. I promise you he is
over here.
alone, as he always is. Michael Searle to my top right. All of our Twitter handles are in our, our names. We're next to our names, but they're also in the description, so follow us. Share this with your friends. We're live.
Oh, you can do it twice? I can't even do it once. You know who can do it really well? Senator Bancourt.
What the fuck? Yeah, because look. What? Anyhow,
he does it when he's just he just does it when he's talking, like not even thinking about it. He's just like,
I mean, how could you not do that with both hands, or let alone one?
It's harder with my right hand for sure.
You guys are embarrassing human beings.
Michael can do it. I can't.
I don't. It's hard.
I think it's because I'm a lefty.
Okay, whatever. This is the BCM Podcast.
It's because you're black.
Oh, god dang. Well, I mean, that's actually an interesting question, Charles. I mean, this is from Star Trek, and we can start off with this question. I mean, Star Trek was that popular in the black community?
I mean, the black community is not a monolith, so I'm sure in some places it probably was popular, but I've never seen it. So,
if I asked you, is Jay-Z popular in the black community? What would you say?
Yes.
Oh, it's not a monolith. Fucking idiot.
That's different. That's cultural. Star Trek, Star Wars, I've never seen either, so I couldn't tell you if it's popular or unpopular. I would assume unpopular because I haven't seen it. So.
And because it's Star Trek.
Yeah, that too.
Whatever. Let's get started. Charles, you're muted all of a sudden. We got a show for you today. Kamala has a plea for black men, and we got to ask Charles about that, of course. We got some Senate debates, Venezuelan gangs, Simu Liu. You guys don't even know who that is.
Of course we know who Simu Liu is.
How do you know who that is?
Because he's like a famous person.
Yeah, but you don't know famous people. Like every time I ask you.
Yeah, but he was just in that.
Tyler Delaire says Jay-Z is not real. So how about that, Charles? An update from Robert Roberson. The New Yorker has quite the headline, and the Atlantic is having a real one today. So we're going to talk about all that.
Like, and not real, like he's an alien or a robot, or not real.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Tyler?
What is Jay-Z if not real? I don't know. All right. Well, let's talk about Kamala Harris's plea to black men, and let's get Charles's take. I will share my screen so that everyone can see what Kamala Harris is up to. Oh boy, what happened? There we go. The Harris Walls policy. Kamala Harris will create an opportunity agenda for black men. Sorry, black women, you are not quite as important. Provide 1 million loans that are fully forgivable up to $20,000 for black entrepreneurs and others to start a business. Okay.
Forgivable loans, a grant, not a loan. So next.
Well, I mean, you also have a podcast, Charles. So if you don't apply to this, I'm personally going to be very upset with you. Support education, training, and mentorship programs that lead to good paying jobs for black men, including pathways to become teachers.
Not every black man wants to be a teacher, so that's weird. Next.
Well, okay. Protect cryptocurrency investments so black men who make them know their money is safe.
Why would my money not be safe? Why would a white person's cryptocurrency money be safe, but not mine? Next.
Oh, dang. Launch a national health initiative focused on the illnesses that disproportionately impact black men.
Okay.
Interesting. Legalize recreational marijuana and create opportunities for black Americans to succeed in this new industry.
So all we can do is smoke and sell weed. That's our limit of potential.
Well, this is your next black president, Kamala Harris, trying to appeal for your vote. And, I don't know, is legalizing recreational marijuana, is that something that's going to get a bunch of black men to vote for her?
I don't think so. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think a lot of people nowadays smoke weed. Sure, that's fine. But just legalizing weed targeting like in your black agenda is a very weird thing. Like just make it in your agenda. If you're talking about going back and kind of righting the wrongs of incarceration of black men who had been incarcerated because of marijuana, that's a different story, but you're talking about legalizing it. Why isn't she run on going back and releasing all those men in California that she put in jail for smoking weed, all the broken homes that she's created? How about that?
How about it, Kamala?
Dang straight.
This is just like that Elizabeth Warren debate.
We're going to get to. Is it a bit patronizing?
It is patronizing.
Patronizing. This agenda. I didn't read it as for black men either. I'm like, this is an agenda for white women to say that Kamala has a plan for black men. Yeah. That's how I read it.
Yeah.
It's like
it's very strange to me that that's what you come up with rather than like, first of all, I don't like things like this in general where it's like, oh, here's my plan for, Asian Americans who are left-handed and live in New Jersey, but
there's not a lot of those, or
so I don't like that stuff to begin with, but particularly this where it's like these are very low-level things like health. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Weed. Okay, great. What about the rest of us who don't smoke weed or necessarily care if it's legalized? Okay. Cryptocurrency, that one Bitcoin I had in 2011, I gave it away. So I'm kind of out of luck on that one. So that doesn't really help me. Like it just seems very stupid and surface level. And I think there are more thoughtful things that she could have done if she really wanted to make this a thing.
Well, the cryptocurrency thing is interesting because I know that the black community is not a monolith, right? Charles, I'm not suggesting that. Okay. But I also, I'm sure that there are black people that are in the cryptocurrency game, right? But it's not something that I see as like, it's not like super culturally integrated into the black community, is it?
Not particularly.
Right. So, I
think it's a way of her trying to signal that like your ill-gotten gains, which she thinks a lot of black people must have, can be sheltered in cryptocurrency.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. You have to ask her, not me.
Well, you're what ill-gotten gains? What do you mean?
Well, I didn't say I think there's ill-gotten gains. I said I think that's what she is inferring by her
No,
policy.
but what if you were in Kamala's mind?
I don't know. I can't be in Kamala's mind. I don't arrest people that much.
Pulling this.
He's on fire today. So you're not voting for her after her release of her Black Man Agenda?
No, it hasn't won me over just yet. Maybe she can come out with Black Man Agenda Part 2, and that one might help. The remix.
Black Man Agenda Part 2, the electric
shuffle.
Okay, on. So the electric slide.
I have a question. I know you're the host, Brad, but I have a question. Please. So I've heard two theories on both the Black Agenda and on her making more media appearances. One is that that's just what you do because it's a presidential race and we're, weeks away from who's going to vote. So that's one theory. The other is that her internal polls are really bad. So she's having to do things she otherwise wouldn't. Which way do you guys lean? Like, is she just doing what she was going to do anyways and she's winning, or is she desperate?
I think it's both. I think she is losing black men in larger numbers than most modern day Democratic candidates. And I think that is because she's just not, what do you have to offer? And this is the best you come up with when you try to offer something. So she's losing them from the Democratic Party, maybe not as a party, but as a candidate she is. And so I think this is her attempt at appealing to them the same way that she's doing kind of different interviews and things and trying to do different ways of attracting them. So I think that's one. But two, I think it's also something they just do. And make no mistake, I think on this show, I've criticized Trump for when he did the sneakers and when he did there was something else he did. I forgot that all of it was geared towards
watches.
The watches. Well, I don't know if that was geared towards black men, but I did criticize him for that. But the sneakers were one where they were like, oh, the black community is going to love me because of this. You go on Fox News and the guy's like, yeah, they're going to vote for him because of this, like, this ugly ass sneakers. Nobody's going to vote for you because of that. And so I criticize on both sides for that reason because I just hate the pandering. I hate the pandering. It is so stupid. It is so lowbrow that I just can't even get behind it.
Have y'all seen the Trump combat knife?
Oh.
No, this is the first I'm seeing of the Trump combat knife.
I'm so happy to share it with you. I'm a proud owner of 10 Trump combat knives. So don't you dare test me.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I will come at you. Speaking of polls and stuff like that, some information came out yesterday afternoon from Polly Markets.
Who's that? Like related to Polly Pocket?
Polly Pocket. Yes, it's the Polly Pocket of markets. They, tell you about what's going on in the world with the markets. And they say Republicans are now favorites to win the presidency, Senate, and House. The House is just a toss-up, 51%. Senate, 80% Republican. Presidency, 62% Republican. Would you look at that, guys?
That's crazy.
That's what Polly Market says. Now, is Polly Market trustable? Michael, you pay attention to this stuff. What do you think of those numbers?
I think there's a concerted effort to make it seem like Trump is winning, whether or not that is an intentional PR play or he is actually winning. We will see. And it's influencing how people are betting on the presidential race, which is forcing those numbers that you see there. The Senate, the Republicans are going to win the Senate. That's pretty much a given at this point because they're going to pick up West Virginia, and whether the one that they need to hold is Missouri, but we'll see. That independent candidate is doing pretty well, so they're going to win the Senate.
Charles looks fed up. Charles looks like he's like just fed up with this. He's like, "Fuck these politicians." Yeah, that's what you do. Michael, I apologize. I interrupted.
That's okay. So, like I said, Senate. Yes, House, I don't know. Probably they're going to win. Presidency's the big, I don't know. I fall on two camps on this one too. She's either going to win in a nail biter or it's going to be a blowout by Trump. I don't know which one it's going to be.
You would like it to be a blowout by Trump, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Okay.
And not in the sense that you're...
It sounded like grossly sexual, but okay.
Yeah. Or poop.
What do y'all mean? I don't know. What
you put on this like weird voice when you said it. I think Michael, who are you investing in? Trump?
I don't bet on politics.
Really?
Mm-mm. I almost put in our prediction show, after our prediction show, I almost put a little bit of money on Michelle Obama, but I didn't. So
good thing.
Well, there's still time.
There is still time. So let's see. Is there anything else, Charles? So again, if she wins and you do not get us a $20,000 forgivable loan for this podcast, I'm going to be really upset with you.
I'm sorry, but a forgivable loan is a grant. You cannot have a loan.
I don't care what you call it. Just get that bag.
I don't take government money like that. You can go stand in line for the government cheese and let me know how it tastes. I will not do that for this podcast. I don't care if it means I have to go stand on the corner of 59th and Lexington asking for change to pay for this podcast. I'd rather do that than collect $20,000 from Kamala Harris.
Where is 59th and Lexington? What are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry, 119th and Lexington. That was a stupid mistake. 119th and Lexington.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Where is it?
You don't know what I was on 119th and Lexington on my sidekick. All right, so never mind.
The fuck happened?
You don't know chicken noodle soup?
I know what chicken noodle soup is.
Chicken noodle soup. Chicken noodle soup. Chicken noodle soup with a soda on the side.
Okay. Well, at any rate,
Michael, you know that song. Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
We got. So, I mean, people were talking about the Cruz all red debate and Cruz destroyed or all red really got him good. Cancun Cruz, blah, 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 whatever. Michael, what do you think? Cruz still going to win?
Yes.
Okay. Charles?
Yeah, I think so.
All red's a black man, right?
It's slightly
debatable.
Racist.
My favorite part of the
I asked if he's a black man and you called me racist, and Michael said debatable and you said nothing.
I was obviously joking.
Yeah, obviously.
But my favorite part of the debate was the men competing in women's sports section, where Colin Allred said Cruz is just mad about this because he couldn't make the JV baseball team or whatever he said.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that. Wow.
I should have watched it.
A lot of Democrats I see online are very much like, all of a sudden they're, that's such a bad position that Democrats took. It's undefendable. Like all of the Republicans have to do, Ted Cruz has to do is keep bringing that up and it's undefendable. But I mean, I don't understand. Like they weren't like these Democrats weren't saying anything when it was like the hot topic of the moment.
Yeah, because it wasn't politically expedient at the time, and now they recognize that the general public is not in favor of it, and they got to reverse course.
Yeah, but they're just going to go back to nonsense like this.
Yes,
of course.
I mean, they haven't abandoned it. They're just paying it lip service right now.
It's a presidential election, so they got
the most money Trump has spent on an ad thus far is the gender reassignment surgery for prisoners ad that he's running in a bunch of the states.
Because it's crazy. Why are we paying for gender reassignment surgery for prisoners? Michael.
Oh, why aren't they paying for yours, Charles? Right? Why do that for prison?
Am I right?
I mean, if I ever go to prison, fingers crossed that never happens, and I'm in a male prison, I'm going to just say I'm a woman.
You're going to have them pay for it?
I'm not going to get the surgery. I'm just going to say I'm a woman.
What is under what circumstance cross my fingers? Let's pray it doesn't happen. Like, why would you go to prison, Michael?
Yeah, if you had to pick one reason that you would go to prison, what would it be?
Hanging out with you hoodlums. Kamala Harris gets elected president and comes after me from all my crypto money.
That makes sense.
Is it money though? All right, so we have we have what's her name from Massachusetts, Elizabeth Pocahontas. She's in a debate. I thought this was interesting. I don't know if y'all actually watched it when I sent it to you, but I thought it was interesting. I didn't know that she was in a debate. That's a good face, by the way. Look at her. Oof, rough. Here we go.
To go after them on overdraft fees, where folks like JP Morgan Chase were making more than $1 billion a year off people who were struggling making it day to day. I'm in those fights, but I think crypto ought to have to follow the same rules as everybody else.
Briefly.
Since when did crypto become such a big talking point for like senators and presidential candidates? It popped up out of nowhere. I just thought it's kind of weird. I don't know.
Please don't get Michael started.
But I think that, we're about to get Michael started big time because I think this guy might.
Why is she always wearing the same thing, by the way? But go ahead.
I think this guy that's running against her, I think his last name is Deaton. I think it might be like Michael in disguise.
I wish Senator Warren would attack inflation the way she attacks crypto. I wish she would attack securing the border the way she's focused on crypto. She's so focused on crypto. She had the CEO of JP Morgan Chase available for questioning, and they had financed the largest child sex trafficking operation in history with Jeffrey Epstein. And Senator Warren didn't ask a single question. She wanted to talk about crypto because she's so hyper-focused. I know that because I was raped as a child for a period of 2 years, I might be a little more sensitive to those child rape victims. But I want to ask Senator Warren, why would you not ask one question? JP Morgan Chase settled for $290 million to these rape victims. They had to settle with the...
Look at her face. Oh, God. What do I do? What do I say?
Damn, this guy's throwing down heat.
Yeah.
Virgin Islands. And Senator Warren doesn't ask a question. You want to know why? Because a former Democrat president's involved, because her donors are involved, because people that she knows are involved. Again, loyalty to an agenda.
This is like elder abuse. Look how sad she looks.
Loyalty to a party. I come in and I want transparency on everything. I'd like her to answer the question on behalf of all those.
She won't answer it.
Is he a Republican?
I have stated.
Yeah,
he is a Republican. Yeah,
he's a pro-choice Republican, running in Massachusetts, but he's got some ridiculous amount of his funding comes from the crypto community because they hate Elizabeth Warren because she's public enemy number one to the crypto community, wanting to ban it and regulate it out of existence. And dang, he brought in Jeffrey Epstein. That was great.
So I wonder how she is at odds then with Kamala's plan for black folk.
That what are you gonna do? You can't have it's not so easy as all that, Charles. You know what I mean? Like,
don't know what you
mean.
Nope, don't know you mean.
Listen, Kamala is just trying to help the black community, okay? And old lady Pocahontas is not going to stand in the way of that.
Did you know she was the first? She spearheaded and then was the first, executive director of the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau.
Ooh.
Elizabeth Warren.
Are you allowed to say spearheaded, considering her Native American history? I'm just curious. I don't know. Sounds like you might be barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, Liz Warren went through an incredible transformation from that time to now, where she just is like the bank's lackey, and so she's going after crypto. But that guy probably doesn't stand a chance. I don't know what Massachusetts' partisan breakdown is, but I'm assuming it's a very, 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 very blue state, and he probably doesn't have a chance. But that was fun to watch.
Yeah, well, I've also heard that because Elizabeth Warren wants to like break up the tech monopolies, right? The tech companies aren't happy with her either, and so there might be some. They might be pressing some buttons on their end to get her out, but it's pretty difficult to get people to change their minds about Elizabeth Warren. She's been there for so long, right? Anything else? She has been there for very long.
She's awful.
Well, don't use too many words. She's awful. Charles, anything? Anything? She's against your people. She wants to get rid of the crypto. And Kamala tells me that your people love crypto.
Well, I mean, Elizabeth Warren is, what can you say?
I mean, you can say a lot of fucking things, man. I don't know. Like, what are you talking about?
It's funny. I did this interview once, and I was, and it was an interview, and Elizabeth Warren came up, and it was around the time that her and Elon Musk were sparring on Twitter. And so I said that Elon Musk has contributed more to society than Elizabeth Warren, and the woman who I was debating with was in complete and utter shock, and she was disgusted that I even said that.
Senator Karen,
who?
What was her argument against that?
I don't know. I think they ended the segment shortly after.
Okay.
I don't think, but everybody laughed at me. They were like, "Oh, he's crazy." And then you know what she said? She's like, it's not like Elon Musk invented the electric car. And I was like, I never said he did.
You probably did say it, though. So I want to bring us back just a little bit. This happened sort of at the end of last week. This is Martha Raddatz with MSNBC. Is that who she's with? She's talking to Mr. J.D. Vance. And she has an interesting point about Venezuelans taking over apartment complexes.
The incidents were...
This relates to the next topic, so let's just deal with it. Okay, Charles? Calm down.
Limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes in America were taken over by Venezuelan gangs, and Donald Trump is the problem and not Kamala Harris's open border. Americans are so fed up with what's going on.
Right, so we don't need to listen to the whole thing. It's just a handful of apartment complexes that were taken over. No big deal. It's really just a small amount, right? What's the max number that we can allow to be taken over in America? I mean, a handful's okay. What's a handful? 5?
6.
A handful is 5.
Okay, so 5 is okay.
6 is a bushel.
6 is a bushel. Can we have a bushel of apartment complexes taken over? I don't know. It's kind of a cute word, a cute way to say it. So I feel like she would say it's only a bushel, no big deal, right? But I think once we get into like closer to the double digits, when people start saying, "All right, guys, we got a problem." So this is from the Daily Mail, everyone's favorite reliable news source. Evil super gang seizes 4 apartment complexes in major Texas city in new terrifying show of strength. Bloodthirsty gang Tren de Aragua. How do you say that? Moves headquarters. Huh? What?
Aragua.
Yeah, whatever. Moves HQ. Hey, welcome to America. Speak English, Charles. Moves HQ to outskirts of El Paso in Texas. A dangerous Venezuelan gang has taken over at least 4 apartment complexes in San Antonio, Texas, as it expands its reach in yet another American city. DailyMail.com can reveal. Dubbed the epitome of evil, TDA is known to run drug smuggling, child prostitution, and human trafficking rings in South America, with its members crossing over into the U.S. in recent years amid a wave of Venezuelan migrants.
Michael, let's just let
Epitome.
that one go.
Okay.
Let's just
Let that one go.
nothing. Okay, so
What are you letting go? I am the host of the show. I will mute you.
Then you won't find out.
What are you letting go?
You said epitome,
Oh, okay. I apologize.
epitome. But that's a common
it's
mistake.
okay. Maybe that's the other way they pronounce it.
Hey, can't all be perfect. You know what I mean?
You know.
Okay, do you guys actually believe this or what?
Do I
Oh,
believe?
yeah.
Did I believe it?
what?
Do I? It's only 4 in San Antonio. It's not that big a deal, Charles. Does it matter if I believe it?
Do we believe what?
That it's happening in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Just last week, a small army of police officers raided an apartment complex in San Antonio and arrested 19
Okay,
individuals.
but it's like, are you getting this from any other source other than the Daily Mail?
I thought I sent you guys a local source that
Maybe I didn't.
I thought you. Oh yeah, you did send that.
My
News for San Antonio. This woman who's got tattoos all over, arrested in alleged
that's what you
gang
said.
member,
Oh.
was arrested in late September after a migrant woman living at a local hotel accused her of drugging her and letting men rape her.
I thought you were sending this because you thought she was cute.
That's what I thought too.
That too.
But
And
I'm not seeing. I'm sorry. I did not see that. I saw it, but I didn't click the thing you sent. I just thought you were sending that because like how she looked. But I did not know that this was like confirmed outside of Daily Mail. Right.
What do y'all think about those ear gauges? What do you think about
No,
that?
don't do
Gross?
that.
It looks like one of them's ripped on the other side. It's nasty.
Yeah, it is nasty. Everything else better is primo.
It sounds like cigarettes and hot Cheetos.
Do you not believe it just because it's Daily Mail? Like you need some?
No, not just because it's Daily Mail, but because like I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, now Podunk Daily for San Antonio has reported it. Must be true,
Well,
right?
no. I mean, like with as much as our elected officials and our statewide elected officials talk about cartel and how if they were taking it over and the governor didn't send the National Guard in to get them, that's crazy, right? Like that's nuts. If they took over 4 apartment complexes in the second largest, I don't even know what San Antonio is for Texas, 3rd largest city, whatever it is.
Second.
Is it second largest city in the state? And we're just like, look at Denver, look at Aurora.
Well, I mean, it does say law enforcement sources confirmed TDA had been operating at the Palatia apartments for 5 to 6 months, squatting in empty units. They either rented out to other migrants, used as a base to deal cocaine, or more horrifically, as prostitution dens to pimp out women and children. Charles, I don't know why you think
Did they take it over, or were they squatting in a couple of apartments?
I mean, if they're running some gang activity out of there, are they? I don't know. Is the whatever the RA, resident assistant, is that on the? Are they on the payroll? Is that what it requires?
I don't know. It sounds like if you're I don't know what the situation
If they
is.
take it over, do they have to like pay taxes? And that's what you think that's when they started. They actually took over. Like, what's your definition of take over?
Take over as in like they run it, and if you go in there, you might have problems.
You think they're good landlords?
Have you guys never seen New Jack City?
I don't think so.
A takeover of an apartment building is like literally a takeover of an apartment building. So I would assume if that had happened, that's very different than taking over a couple of units.
Oh God, Charles.
Neither's good, but there's a reason why one didn't make national news and one did. One would.
I have not seen New Jack City, but it's got my boy Wesley Snipes, so I'm a little disappointed in myself. Ice-T.
It's a great movie.
And Wesley Snipes, Ice-T and Wesley Snipes.
It's based on a true story. My mom used to date one of the
Your mom used to date Wesley Snipes?
No, one of the people who is in the gang that the movie's about.
Your mom dated Wesley Snipes when he was in a gang?
Outside of the semantics of what takeover means, I mean, this seems like public safety purpose number one. Like, can we get some people in there to get these guys out of there and out of these? And then second, this is why we don't build apartments. We need more single family homes, less apartments. Because we don't see Venezuelan gangs taking over single-family homes now, do we, Charles?
That is an excellent point.
They've taken over plenty of single-family homes in Venezuela. They just haven't done it here yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Have they? Are you just making shit up?
And the reason it's not getting coverage nationally is because this hurts the Democrats.
Yeah, but you can't say that that's the reason. Denver and
100% is
Aurora
the
got
reason.
national coverage.
On Fox, but Daily Mail reported, not to change subjects, but Daily Mail also reported Doug Emhoff's beating of women, and it's not getting covered in mainstream media either. But it's confirmed.
You saw MSNBC talk about the Colorado apartments being taken over and playing it off like it's no big deal because it's just a handful.
I think that was ABC.
Whatever the fuck it is, it's all the same, right?
Yes, I get it. I'm not justifying any of this. I'm just saying that if it were that big of a deal, I would think that we would see additional coverage of it. Like the San Antonio News Express is not writing about apartment complexes being taken over by Tren de Aragua gang members in San Antonio. The Houston Chronicle most certainly would, even if just to dispel the rumors from Republicans.
Well, maybe they're not rumors and they can't dispel them. I don't know why you're defending this activity by Venezuelan gangs.
I'm not defending it. I just don't want us to traffic in misinformation.
Oh, yeah, you do. You talk about fucking how apartment complexes are so close to that city and fucking in Texas and all that's. If that's not misinformation, I don't know what is. Don't yawn at me.
That's how I feel about what you're saying.
All right. Anything else about the Venezuelan gangs?
No.
Okay. Simu Liu, who I don't believe that you guys actually know who he is unless you looked him up today. But I guess he has a show, and I think I don't know if it's true or if this is true or not. I don't want to peddle in misinformation, but
right.
He has a show kind of like Shark Tank, and I think it's in Canada.
Yeah.
I think it's a Canadian show.
Yep.
Makes sense.
And it's called Dragon's Den, which is on the cusp, if you ask me. And it's
on
kind
the
of
cusp of cultural appropriation or of.
He's Asian.
Is he American?
Well, apparently he's Canadian because you just said his show was in
Canadian. Is it's in Canada? Good one.
Canada.
We're gonna let that one slide, Michael. Anyhow, Dragon's Den. So he shuts down a pitch due to cultural appropriation. Let's hear it. Oh, we can't hear it because I need to share my screen. I'm good at this, guys. It's my first time.
Stop acting like me.
I promise I would never do that.
I am studying your can, and I am looking for anything that tells me where boba came from. And where boba came from is Taiwan. You know, I started this venture company for a lot of reasons, but really primarily.
He started this venture company to make money. Not a lot of reasons, to make money. He did it. He's on TV to make himself more famous, to make more money. He's not doing it out of the goodness of his heart. All right. Y'all know what boba is, right? Charles, I almost guarantee you Charles has boba like once a week because he lives in Houston and he's a freak.
I've only had it once before and it was okay.
Not a big fan.
I'm not a big fan of tapioca.
Okay. Well,
to uplift minority entrepreneurs. And not only do I feel like this is not happening here, but that I would be uplifting a business that is profiting off of something that feels so dear to my cultural heritage. I want to be a part of bringing boba to the masses, but not like this. So for that reason, I'm out.
Thanks.
Respect that.
Respect that.
Makes me sad how successful this business is. It makes me sad that people are, they're drinking.
Makes him sad how successful this, but it's sad that people are successful.
Is that guy not a minority? Am I missing something?
The white guy?
What white guy?
Hold on. The white guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I thought he was Asian.
I mean, maybe he's Italian. I don't know. Is that white?
I didn't know he was white. Okay, so I guess he's not a minority.
It makes me sad how successful this business is. It makes me sad that people are, they're drinking boba with a raccoon with a sun.
It doesn't mean that they don't have the opportunity to change and do that.
That's true, but there has to be a willingness, and I have to be able to invest in these founders knowing that that change is possible.
They didn't say no. The collaboration that they've had to this point is with their supplier in Taiwan. And if nobody else has told them that before, you can't put that all on them.
Look, he's so disappointed because they had a supplier in Taiwan that's been helping them with this. And the supplier in Taiwan's like, fuck yeah, dude, go sell the shit out of this. Let's make some fucking money. And Simu Liu, however you say his name, is upset about it. Because he didn't say that boba's from Taiwan and it doesn't honor his cultural heritage. When was boba invented? Charles, I know you're looking it up.
No, I'm not looking it up.
1980s. The 1980s.
His cultural heritage only goes back to the 1980s. Simu Liu, what are you doing, baby boo?
Yeah. So this guy, I'm going to go off on this guy.
Go off.
It's rich coming from an actor who played the leader of North Korea in a TV series for like 5 years, and him talking about cultural appropriation.
Wait, what show is this?
I don't know. Some show.
Yeah, I agree. He's not North Korean.
He's not. Yeah, he's Chinese or Chinese American or Chinese Canadian.
Yeah.
So rich coming from him about cultural appropriation. This dude's definitely voting for Kamala.
He's Canadian.
Well, if he could vote, he's definitely voting for Kamala. And then
Canada.
Get over it, dude. Like, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, right? So get over it. Nobody's appropriating anybody's culture here. They're taking a product that they think is awesome and they want to sell it to the masses. Like, that's a great thing. It's not cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
How many times does he eat Italian food made by like non-Italians, right?
This is stupid. What he said was stupid.
I thought cultural appropriation, I thought that whole, I don't know, the hype around that, I thought that was done like 6 years ago.
Well, I mean, no.
What do you know?
People still culturally appropriate.
Name one.
I can't think of someone who immediately. I don't know.
Yeah,
Lena Hidalgo.
Lena Hidalgo. What is she appropriating from what culture?
She had cornrows the other day.
Oh, fuck yeah. She had cornrows? Is that real?
Yeah. It still happens, but you're right. No, I mean, Michael's exactly right. This is stupid. It's boba tea, which is like taking the world by storm. Everyone seems to love it. There's boba tea shops all over the place. And to be upset that there's a raccoon as its emblem or is, what's that word? Mascot. It's just ridiculous. Then buy it or invest in it and help them come to have a come to Jesus moment where they recognize and fix the rights of those wrongs. But that's dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Lena Hidalgo had cornrows. I have to get a picture of it.
Yeah, it's dumb. Also, what shoes is he wearing?
Yeah, what shoes is he wearing?
He's wearing loafers, which were not invented in China. And he's culturally appropriating whoever that created loafers. I don't know who it was. But it's just, this is stupid. It's a product that we're selling. Nobody's being... Anyways.
Look at Lena Hidalgo with cornrows.
Loafers were invented by the British, and they were made for King George, the VI, which is that five? No, that's...
I mean, I will... Lena Hidalgo, I don't know what she's wearing. It looks like she's wearing a cop uniform, but she has cornrows. You were correct.
She has aviators too.
Yes.
She looks pretty good.
Got a cop look right now.
She looks
aviators.
She looks good with cornrows. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, of course. Why not?
I don't know.
She's a pretty young woman.
She's a pretty young woman. Like she's kind of young, but not really, or she's pretty and young.
She's a pretty and young woman.
Well, I was just bringing up the cultural appropriation thing because I thought we were done with this, right? I thought that we were finally past that point where white people can make tacos, Mexican people can make BLTs, black people can make kung pao chicken. Like, who cares? Let's just make it happen. Like, let's just have some fun with it, right? But we're
Yeah.
not there, guys.
Of course, the white guy would think we're in a post-racial society where we've moved on from cultural appropriation. Please tell us more. Tell us more about the struggle.
Which struggle?
The one that you've endured.
As a white man?
Hmm?
I would be glad to tell you all about it. Yes, Michael?
I don't know that I want to say that.
Say what?
I just think we have there's too much validating of people's feelings going on in this world right now where we don't necessarily need to.
Okay.
Tell us more about validation of feelings.
Everybody's just so freaking emotional.
I agree.
But
you gotta tell people to just shut up. People don't get beat up anymore as kids.
That's right.
On the playground, I mean, not by adults.
Charles, you're not going to be allowed near playgrounds.
No, by other kids on the
you're going to
playground.
start beating up kids at playgrounds. You don't even have kids of your own. And you're just going to go to look out for Charles Blain at all the playgrounds because he doesn't have kids. And if he's there to beat up yours.
I'll take us on a real quick tangent.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Yes, it's going to be good. So Mark Halperin, do you know who that is? He's a reporter.
Yes.
Anyways, he was on Tucker.
Charles' favorite.
And he said that speaking of feelings, that made me think of this. He said that if Trump wins, it's going to cause the greatest mental health crisis in the history of the country. Depression, anxiety, alcoholism, broken marriages, broken families, all these things he thinks would happen if Trump is elected.
I believe
Speaking
it.
of people being too emotional.
I don't know that. I mean, you might consider part of the COVID response to be a mental health epidemic as well. I don't know if it's going to be bigger than that, but I would believe that there's going to be some of that for sure. Charles, any comments?
I mean, I think that seems a little bit exaggerated. We didn't have it the first time, did we? I don't know what the numbers were.
It was pretty bad in 2016.
No, I don't disagree. I think, you had a lot of people who were, I remember quick story. I remember the morning after I went to Starbucks to grab a coffee and I was waiting in line and.
Why are you talking that way? I went to Starbucks to grab a coffee.
And this guy came in and he clearly had a late night or whatever. He hadn't read or heard or turned on TV or radio or anything. And he picks up the newspaper and it says Trump won on it. And he's like, what the fuck? And he throws the newspaper down and he's like, you can't be serious. And he walks out of Starbucks. And I'm like, you just about out at Starbucks. Dang, turn on the radio on your way in.
I was dating a Mexican girl once from Mexico. Didn't speak a lot of great English. Probably 15 years ago. And we went to get coffee in the morning, and The Onion, a new paper, The Onion came out, and it said that the Queen was pregnant, and she flipped the fuck out, got really loud in the coffee shop. And I didn't know how to, it was embarrassing. That was the end of it for me. I was like, I can't date this person anymore. She has, it's not so much that English was the problem. It was you couldn't tell what satire is.
I mean, I would think I'd be more concerned that she was worried, that upset about the Queen being pregnant.
I mean, not upset, she was angry. I think it was more that's impossible. It's the craziest news. Oh my God. She would not shut up about it. And I was like, we're not going to see each other anymore. So Robert Roberson, we got into a little bit of trouble for talking about this last week. And
the point I was talking about Robert Roberson today was the fact that last night his life was spared.
That's the update.
It's true. Supreme Court, Texas Supreme Court.
Take it away, Michael.
Well, you probably know more than me. I just want to address, we want to have the person Brad's referring to, Luke Macias, on the show to talk about this issue because I'm very interested in talking with Luke about this. I want to talk to him about it. I'll text him right now.
I would love to talk to him about it. And remember, this is a show for entertainment value. I thought we were a melting pot. I don't know what is that reference to, Brian? Oh, are you talking about Charles and cultural appropriation and all that stuff and how upset he is?
Yeah, but I think that the thing with the Roberson case is that he didn't have representation and didn't get a fair trial. And if we're going to kill the guy, I think, and if there's a bunch of legislators out there worried about an execution, I think we should probably take that seriously. And what is the harm of giving him a new trial? There's no harm.
I mean, to me, the politicians, a bunch of legislators out there signing a letter like that. Okay, I think it means something, but it's also, you could question their motives. They're doing it for political reasons. They don't like the death penalty, all that stuff, right? But the lead investigator was saying, "Hey, I think I made a mistake."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that kind of speaks volumes. And like, okay, well, maybe the guy's still guilty. I don't know. But if the lead investigator is saying something, maybe it's worth taking another look at. And at the end of the day, maybe he still gets killed. I don't know.
Well, I think that's the point, right? It's that we don't know, that there's so many questions that have to be answered or that should be answered before the state chooses to take someone's life. And if you cannot answer those questions with absolute certainty or the closest thing to it, then you should not take someone's life. And I think everyone should agree that the state should not have ultimate authority of killing someone when there is uncertainty surrounding the crime or if there was a crime committed. But to your point about Luke, I think the reason he didn't tag us was because it was more directed towards Lacey and her comments. But he is welcome on the show, and I would love
definitely welcome, 100% welcome.
I know you said that. I'm just reiterating.
Yeah, and, but the other thing is that we've got it wrong before. We have lots of cases where we've got it wrong. So I'm good with the death penalty if the person did it and it's a heinous crime, especially against a child. I'm good with it. My issue with it, and I think I don't want to speak for a lot of conservatives, but I'll say I think the issue with some people is that we get it wrong, not the punishment itself. It's that we get it wrong. So let's just get it right. And if people who are elected and the investigator have questions, just retry it.
Well, thank God.
I don't see what the big deal is.
Thank God.
Well,
okay, quick question. What would you got if you guys had to pick your method of death? What would it be?
Like for myself?
Yeah, if you were sent.
What are you doing picking deaths for other people?
I thought he meant maybe for the death penalty. Like, what is the most humane one? I don't know. For me, I want to jump off something really, really high.
Hunter is correct. It is crazy that we have two Supreme Courts who issued exactly opposite of Hunter's. Kind of crazy, but I agree. Yeah.
Thank you, Hunter.
You can't choose. You can only choose among the things that we execute people.
You did not make that rule at the beginning. You can't change.
I just made it now.
Again.
Wait, I can't jump off something really, really high.
That sounds terrible.
It's like a horrible way to die.
God, that sounds.
That's partially why I changed the rule, because that's a ridiculous way to die. I don't know why.
What are my options? Hanging, firing squad, guillotine,
electric chair, an injection.
What about the table? Can I choose that?
What table?
Where they like tie your arms and you quarter somebody.
You don't do that anymore.
Yeah, they don't do guillotines anymore, but you let me do that one.
Okay, I removed that one then.
Oh, this game sucks, dude.
Anyway.
I mean, what would I choose? I mean, I would choose. I guess my options are the electric chair or injection.
They still do firing squad somewhere. It's illegal.
Stoning. They do stoning too. Can we do that one? They cut off people's heads too. I'm jumping off something really high.
Man, I don't fucking know. Like peaceful in my sleep. Okay. Anyway, Brian may ask a great question. What does that mean if we can't cook each other's food? Charles, what does it mean if an Asian man comes to you and says, "Stop making kung pao chicken. That's my culture," and you say, "You're right. I'm sorry," because you're a pussy. So that's the Robert Roberson update, right?
Yes.
Okay. What do y'all want to talk about? New Yorker or the Atlantic?
What about him?
Which one do you want to talk about? 3, 2, 1, go.
New Yorker.
Okay, New Yorker. Now, the New Yorker, I haven't pulled it up here. Where did it go?
Maybe you should have picked the Atlantic. Maybe it would have been a little faster. He had that one right now.
No, it's right here. It's just the tabs aren't very clear. I have so many of them that are just wide open. But I thought this was interesting. I thought Michael might have an interesting take on it. The headline, rationalizing the horrors of Israel's war in Gaza. And then I guess the sub-headline, is that what it's called?
Yep.
The novelist Howard Jacobson has argued that too much press coverage of dead Palestinian children is a new form of blood libel against Jews. Too much press coverage of dead Palestinian children is a new form of blood libel.
So can we back up? What is blood libel?
Blood libel is an accusation that Jewish people use the blood of Christians in religious rituals, especially in the preparation of Passover bread that was perpetrated through the Middle Ages and sporadically until the early 20th century.
Well, so I think that's a technical definition, but I think more. I am not an expert. I'm not Jewish, but I'm not that. The way that I read it nowadays is more like you're making a blanket accusation against Jewish people, and they're like they are quote unquote evil or something like that, and it's blood libel against the blood of Jewish people. It's kind of how I read it nowadays. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, but they don't get to change definitions.
Well,
people don't get to change definitions, whether it's woman or whatever, blood libel. You don't get to change
neither
definitions.
of those definitions is good. So either way.
No, I'm aware.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying they're both bad. I think
Yes.
they mean the same thing, kind of, right? I didn't know what blood libel meant until this. I thought it meant something entirely different.
I thought it was just the idea that they're drinking blood, Christians' blood. Anyways, you don't get to just change definitions. But I read this guy's article, and I think we can, from the outset, we can acknowledge that the conflict in the Middle East gets more press coverage than other conflicts or whatever's happening, right? That
for sure.
I agree with that totally. There's reasons for that, but it doesn't address the underlying morality of what's happening. Just because something gets more or less press coverage doesn't make it better or worse. It's the underlying what's happening that we should be talking about, right? And this guy's essentially saying we shouldn't give air to it because it's blood libel to air the dead children. Like, I don't understand that rationalization. It doesn't make sense.
Brad, did you read the article?
I skimmed.
And I'm curious kind of what his angle is. Is it just that
describe it?
I can read. I'll read you what his. Here's a quote from the article. He says, "I think the justification for what Israel did was to try to make sure this never happened again." So he's saying, and then he says, "And I think the attempt to make sure that this never happened again, the numbers are going to be inevitably have to be high." So what he's saying is they had to root out Hamas. And as a result of that, a lot of people had to die. It's just the natural consequence of what they had to do. And he supports what they had to do.
I see. I mean,
I just wonder, like, in other
that argument.
Well,
it's an argument.
I just wonder, like, in other conflicts, like if there's a conflict, I don't know, like North Korea, if they start covering all the dead bodies from the North Korean government killing their own citizens all the time, is that some sort of blood libel against North Koreans? What are the rules?
I don't think that's the. I don't think it's the same thing.
Why not?
Because I think he's arguing that. I think he's arguing that that showing that is incorrectly portraying or incorrectly putting a lot of blame on Jewish people to the point that people then hate them for their what they consider accurate and appropriate response to what happened.
Oh, okay.
Right?
That's fair.
I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's an accurate representation. Michael?
I am fair and accurate all the time. So.
You're absolutely not fair and vaguely accurate. But go on.
It's not a blood libel to show Palestinian children who are dying. Sorry, wrong. We've read the definition. That's not what it is. If there is anger against the Israeli government that spills out against the Jewish people because of what the Israeli government is doing, that's a conversation we can have, but it's not a blood libel.
Yeah.
I don't think. So then the question is, okay, then it's the question of what is happening. What's happening? They're trying to root out Hamas. Okay, you can make the argument that it's worth it to have all these dead children and Palestinians because the end goal of getting rid of Hamas is justified. That's an argument, but it's separate from, I don't agree, but it's separate from whether or not it is a blood libel to air pictures of the consequences of your actions on TV and in newspapers.
Fair.
There we go.
No argument?
We solved it.
Did we? No argument at all?
No.
I mean, I argued, but I don't know. I don't think I have an argument against what you said.
So let's take it. Bring it home.
Let's bring it home.
Should we not have aired the deaths of children in the Middle East, in Afghanistan or Iraq, because it might create hatred towards the American people? And so that's the first question. Second question is, does it have any bearing on whether or not what we did was justified?
Brad?
I mean, look, I don't think that airing the images or covering the deaths of children is any sort of blood libel towards anybody. I mean, what America did to children in the Middle East is awful, and it made people hate America 100%. And I don't know, like, people weren't crying about it, really. I mean, some people were, like, anti-war people were saying, hey, this war sucks. And like, look, we're killing like children, and that's not good. These are innocent people, and people are going to hate America because of that. I think that's, that I didn't hear anything about like, you can't do that because it's anti-American.
So what is the difference?
There's not.
That's my point. It's not. I disagree with his overarching argument that it's justified, but they're using the blood libel accusation to obscure the question of whether or not this is just or not.
Yeah.
It's being used. It's being thrown at people. Same with the anti-Semitism. Am I making you guys uncomfortable?
No.
It's the same with the anti-Semitism, but I would say in the case, we bring it back to America so we can talk about it in that context so we don't mix the racial thing in there. We should have 100% been airing the dead children in Iraq and Afghanistan on TV. Why? Because it would have got us out of that calamity faster, and us killing people over there does not get rid of them. It makes more of them. More people who hate us.
I don't know about airing dead children.
Why? Why shouldn't people know what their government is doing in their name?
I mean, I guess it's the same thing as like when you have a murder and they're reporting it on a murder, they don't show like the murder, right? Like you see if there's a murder and they're doing a story
around. What about the people he murdered? What murder?
Dude, watch any TV show, movie. It's aired all the time. The reason it was taken off of the air.
No,
the reason it was taken off of the air in the 1960s was during the Vietnam War, because it created backlash to the war, and the establishment and the military industrial complex and the CIA didn't want that. So they decided to take it down because it created backlash to the war. That's the only reason they don't air it.
Fair.
That's what he's talking about here, using the word blood libel, but what he really means is it's deteriorating the support for what they're doing, and they're getting backlash for it.
Oh, I see the argument you're making. Interesting.
And I think if your government's going to do something, put the facts out there, let people know what they're doing, and we can make up our minds about whether or not it's something we want to support with all the facts. But if you try to obscure the information, I think is the wrong strategy.
Well, let's talk about the Atlantic. How about that? And then we'll wrap it up. So the Atlantic's having a real one that today. I think both of these are from today. What? Well, no. Well, yeah. Today's it's just this week. How about this week? Shut up, Charles. It says shoplifting surge is real. Mark Fisher writes, people think it's okay to steal, and no one knows how to stop them.
Did you guys ever steal?
It's an interesting question. That's an interesting question.
Michael, I mean, yeah, we've all stolen a little bit, right?
I'm told that as a white man, I've stolen all this land.
Wow, I mean, no, but did you used to steal when you were a kid? Did you ever steal?
I thought I was stealing from my dad's store when I was a kid, but turns out everyone knew that I was doing it, and it wasn't stealing because it was my dad's store, and he's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you were taking money out of your family's own mouth. That's all you were doing. Stealing.
Wasn't the first, won't be the last. Know what I mean?
One time when I was a kid, we had this corner store called Cardi's, and we used to always go there and he had penny candy, and I took some penny candy, and it was kind of stupid because we went in there all the time, and so he knew, and so it sucked.
I stole a Playboy magazine from a convenience store once.
So you're a sexual deviant. Okay.
That's true.
Well, I was thinking about the other day. I don't think they sell those in convenience stores anymore, do they?
I don't think so.
Michael's shaking his head like he doesn't know, but he fucking knows. He knows the answer.
No, they used to. I remember, like, because I worked at Pathmark, and they used to sell them in the magazine aisle. But I don't even think grocery stores have magazine aisles anymore.
And then I was saying convenience stores, but I guess a grocery store could be a convenience store if you like inconvenience. Ann Applebaum with The Atlantic she hits the three-peat. She goes for the three-fer, a triple-double. And it might be a way, huh?
Triple-double?
She does a triple-triple.
Call it double-double.
Trump is speaking like Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini. The former president has brought dehumanizing language into American presidential politics. And she goes on to describe all like the, Berman, radical left thugs, all this stuff, and comparing it to things that these three people said. So he's no longer just Hitler. He is Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini wrapped up into one big orange ball. And I just thought that was fun that they're really going for gold here, throwing the Hail Marys.
I just thought she meant he was talking with an accent.
Which one, though?
All of them.
Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini. If he had an accent, would that make him more appealing?
No.
What
if he had an Italian accent? You think that'd be like, ladies would just love him?
It's me, Donald.
That's
such culturally appropriating, Charles.
That was pretty racist.
Okay.
that was a blood libel.
Okay, I literally grew up around.
I'm the Mario.
Well, go ahead.
Okay.
Keep using our accents, Charles.
You're not Italian.
Yeah, but I feel they're a part of my community as a white man. So
1/16th Italian.
1/16?
I have as much Italian heritage as Elizabeth Warren has Pocahontas. These people have lost they've lost their minds.
And Applebaum especially.
Yeah, remember when I said mental health crisis? And Applebaum.
I mean,
number one. If
Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini, got married and had a kid, it'd be Donald Trump, and now he's your president. What are you going to do?
Nothing.
I think one smart strategy that Trump has done in the last few weeks to a month, going on Andrew Schultz, going on Theo Vaughn, going on a bunch of different I know it's targeted at young men, but it's done a lot to humanize him and show his a little bit softer side, and I think they're losing their minds because calling him Stalin, Mussolini, this guy it's stupid. I can't believe they're still doing this and people still buy it.
I mean, I just think it's fun that they are doing all three now. Like, it's not just Hitler anymore. I don't know how many people know who Mussolini is. Probably not that many, to be honest.
His granddaughter's still alive.
What the fuck does that have anything to do with anything? People don't know shit. Have you?
He's literally an elected official. I'm pretty sure.
You know who does know?
Mean people know who Mussolini is.
You know who does know?
Who?
Childless cat ladies.
That's right, they do.
She's been a member of the Italian and European Parliament.
Yeah, Americans don't know who that is, Charles.
You don't know who Alessandra Mussolini is.
You don't know who she is.
I started this conversation saying that his granddaughter was a member of Parliament.
No, you didn't say Parliament, but that's fine. Anyhow, I think that's the show, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I don't want to be here anymore.
Pretty much since the jump, I don't think Charles has wanted to be here. No argument.
Always, I appreciate it. For those listening live, I appreciate it. We appreciate it. I appreciate it the most, though. Thank you so much for listening. Share this with friends if you want to. Do we still have hats to give away, Michael?
Sure do.
If you retweet this show, not retweet it. If you tweet this show, just tweet it.
Who won the hat the first time?
Oh fuck! Did you send that guy the hat?
Zach the Kid Maxwell. I haven't got them yet. They arrived today. They will be shipped out to the contestant
winners.
You
will allegedly have a hat soon.
Yeah.
So tweet this out and you win a hat, and help us spread the word. Tell your friends, tell your family, subscribe, like, set the notifications, do all that fun stuff. And thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.
See you later.
See you next week.